So here's some communication musts. You're gonna like this. Here's communication must number one. You gotta be transparent. You've got to be willing to be transparent with your people. You got to say, hey, this is what's going on. You got to be open. You got to be a glass door. Allow them to see right through you. There's no secrets. You're not hiding anything. People want to know, especially in today's society, especially with the new millennials. This is something that's important to anybody under the age of 40. This is important to them when they're saying, look, just be transparent with me. What's going on? This is why our government is losing so much trust. It's because people are like, be transparent. Tell me what's really happening. Maybe I can get behind you, but I can't even get behind you if I can't even believe you because you're not being transparent. So what's number two? You got to be present. And when you're talking in leadership, when you're communicating, sometimes, and this has happened to me often in the past, sometimes you're talking to somebody, but you're not fully there. And you know what I mean. You're not fully into that conversation. Maybe they're talking about something that's not interesting to you right then and there, or maybe you're dealing with some things outside and you can't really focus or concentrate, or maybe their breath stinks. I don't know, right? Maybe something is happening that's not allowing you to be present. Maybe they're a close talker, so they're all in your face. Or maybe they're a far talker, and you can't hear what they're saying. Whatever the case may be, sometimes in communication, we get lost. We're having a conversation and we're off drifting. I wonder what's happening over there. And in communication, people can feel that. People can feel when you're not directly. Look, if I wasn't intent right now with you, you could feel it. If I wasn't into this, even over the camera, even though I'm not with you right now, you can feel that I'm not present. And I'm not giving my all. But because I'm giving my all now and I'm present, you can stay connected with this message and you can listen. Some of these videos are 20, 30, 40 minutes long. You might say, man, I got to hold your attention for 20, 40 minutes. The only way for me to do that is to be present with you. To be there with you. Even though I'm not there with you physically, I'm there with you mentally. And your people, when they're there with you physically, they can tell even more when you're not there with them mentally. So you got to be present in that situation. And being present means I'm all into what you're saying. I'm all in. I'm not just kind of listening. I'm all in to you. I'm communicating with you. Especially in today's society with that phone. Pull that thing out and people are talking and you're texting. People are talking and you're looking on Instagram. People are talking and you're on Facebook. Look, you can't do that. You got to put it down for a second. Listen, communicate, hear, because it's so important to have that connection and be present. So what's number three? Number three. You got to be able to read body language. This is a must. Communication must. You got to be able to read body language. You got to be able to feel. All right. Something not right with this situation. If their head is down and they're talking to you and they're rolling their eyes and they're not happy, or if they're smiling and they're super excited, something might tell you. Ask them what's going on. What's so positive right now? You want to have that connection with people, but you got to watch their body language. Communication is body language. So if people are not with you, if you're in a conference room and you're talking to a group of 10 people and you're not noticing that people are falling asleep and people are on their phone, like, you got to notice that around you. You got to read the body language and adjust. Feel where they're at and help them get to where you want them to go to, right? Number 4. You've got to be encouraging. That's a must in communication. You got to know when it's time to encourage, when it's time to pat somebody on the back, when it's time to say good job. It's tough to lead people on a consistent basis if you're always telling them what they did wrong, what they need to fix, if you're only recognizing them for the times they messed up. Look, you got to take the time to encourage them. Why don't you take time and say, you know what? Hey, let's put a time on our schedule to sit down and have a conversation. And in that conversation, all you do is encourage them. All you do is tell them how much you love what they're doing and how much you love working with them and how much of an incredible impact they have made in your organization and all of the things that they're doing well. And if you say, oh, well, this person is a bad employee, or this person that doesn't work well in our organization, or this kid is doing something so bad, I don't want to deal with him. My child is always doing crazy things. Look, There's something about every single person, there's positive in every single person. You got to be able to see it as a leader and say, hey, let's sit down, let's talk. And in that whole conversation, all you're doing is encouraging them. People need that positive reinforcement. They need to be patted on the back. They need to know that they're cared for and that they're wanted in that organization, even if they messed up recently, especially if they messed up recently and they haven't done things the right way recently. That's a perfect time to take the time to encourage them, right? So what's number 5? Get personal. Communication must. You got to get personal. It's got to be deeper than your organization. I've talked about this a lot when I'm talking about what to listen for, but you got to get personal. It's got to get past what's going on in that organization. I mean, I remember being in an organization where this was a gentleman who was above me, but he put something on Facebook. He said that his grandfather passed away. The first thing I thought was, man, I felt bad. You know, I had lost some people in my life around that time as well, and I felt bad. So, the next day that I saw him, I asked him, hey, how are you doing? I heard that, your grandfather passed away. Now, he didn't come tell me that personally, but he put it on a social platform, so I felt like it was okay for us to have that conversation. And he seemed really appreciative that I would take the time to ask them. But you know what? I really cared. See, that's the problem with a lot of leaders, right? I'm going back to the same thing because I'm going to hammer this point home. You got to really care about people. That's the only way you're going to be able to move people in the direction that you want to go. But really, that's the only way people trust you. I mean, people got to know that you're there for them outside of the monetary gain and all other gains that you will possibly get for getting them to follow you, right? So, what's number 6? Use emotion. You got to be able to get people to move. Emotion gets people to move. When you communicate with people, you can't be nonchalant and hopefully one day and no, you got to get people to move. You got to have emotion. You got to get them up out of their seat. They got to know that you care about what you're talking about. You got to feel it. They've got to feel it. They've got to feel it all through their bones. It's got to go through them. When you're communicating with people, nonchalant does not work. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't have to be over-amped like me. That's not about emotion. Emotion, sometimes you can be in a calm situation and be emotional. Hey, team, guess what? We just got a deal with the biggest manufacturing company in the world. Our business is going to skyrocket. I'm so excited. Congratulations to all you guys' work. I mean, I can't believe it. We've worked so hard to get to this place. And now we're here. Man, I want to thank you all. That's emotion. People can feel the sincerity. That's an emotion. People can feel the excitement, even though you're not up. And everybody shows emotion in different ways. Me, I'm more exciting. I'm more animated. That's kind of a little bit of my style. But some other people are more laid back. They're more relaxed. But you can show emotion in anything that you do. Excitement is in body language, and hurt is in body language. When you're feeling sad, it's in body language. When you're feeling sad, what do? Your head up or your head down? Heads down. Shoulders up and back, or shoulders low? Shoulders low. Like, that's an emotion. You're showing it with your body. So you don't have to be emotional with your words. Sometimes people see people like me, and we've got a lot of amp and charisma, and we're out there, and we're excited, and we're passionate, and you think that, that's the only way for me to be in order for me to be effective. No, there's some people who are not as animated, who are incredible leaders. I know a lot of them. So don't worry about being animated. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is showing emotion, allowing people to hear your heart and feel where you're coming from. That's a communication must. Number 7. You gotta be open. You gotta be open for a ton of different things. You gotta be open for new ideas. You gotta be open for criticism. You gotta be open for criticism. You gotta be open. Your whole platform of leadership must be open. I remember visiting an organization a few years ago, and I went into their office, and the CEO had a seat in the middle of the sales floor. No, corner office with the nice view. A seat in the middle of the sales floor. You know what he was saying? He was saying, I'm open. Come talk to me. Come have a conversation with me. Come build relationships with me. Let's go sit down and have a drink. I'm open. You have a question? Come on, ask it. You have a criticism? Let me know. Hey, there's some problem going on? I'm open for it. That's what he was saying. It just by picking the seat, he said I was open. And people are walking on eggshells and like, don't say this. Ooh, don't say that. Ooh, don't do this. Ooh, don't do that. If I do that, I'm going to get in trouble. If you got your organization feeling like that, you've got to change. You've got to change. There's so many things wrong with that, and that's a higher level training that we can get into. That's an hour training right there. But you can't lead people based in fear. You've got to be open. It's got to be open dialogue and open communication. So important. Number 8. You got to be accessible. Let's say he put the seat in the middle of the sales floor, but every time somebody came to him, I'm busy. I can't talk to you right now. I don't have the time. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. Or he's never in the seat. That's not accessible. So that whole open thing would have messed it all up. It would have been like, oh, I'm open, but I'm only open on my time. I'm not open on your time. You've got to be accessible. When people call you, if you've got given them that access to your phone number, when people call you, you got to be able to pick up the phone. If people send you an email, you got to respond back. If people send you a text message, you got to respond back. There's so many people who ignore a communication. I've seen people do this all the time. Somebody sends you an email, somebody calls you, or somebody texts you, and you're the leader in that organization, and you don't even answer the phone, or a family member, or any, like, look, you gotta be accessible. Sometimes there's things that are being seen by your organization that will never be seen by you. In order for you to know that it's going on, they've got to be able to come and tell you. But in order for them to come to tell you, you gotta be accessible to be told. So be open, be accessible. So important. Number 9. You got to be clear, and this is a communication must. When you're speaking, when you're talking to them, when you're giving direction, when you want them, you got to be super clear. Sometimes repeating yourself 3 and 4 and 5 times. Now in this video and multiple videos, you heard me say the same thing in 3 different iterations. It's important. Now a lot of people say, well, you've already said that before. Look, and when you're trying to get clear, sometimes the message needs to be duplicated. Sometimes the message needs to be heard over and over again. If you want them to get it, that's clarity. When they walk away with clarity, they walk away saying, I get it. I know exactly what you want. I know exactly what you're trying to say. I understand exactly what you're trying to teach. I'm clear. I got it. It's so important for leaders to do this. So if that means repeating multiple times, that's cool. If that means, being able to say it in an effective way, then that's great. But you got to be clear. Your organization has to know exactly what you want, the exact direction you want to go in, and exactly what you want to do. And number 10, you got to be respectful. You got to respect your people. You got to respect that they have their own pride and their own ego, and they have all of the things that going right for them, right? And you respect that. You respect what's going on. You respect what they say. You respect that they have families. You got to respect them as a person. In leadership, there's no high and mighty. There's no I'm above you, you're below me. There's no I'm sitting on a throne while you bring me grapes and you fan me with the big palm leaf. That's not how leadership works, right? Leadership is you're down with them on the ground, working, doing whatever you need to do, whatever that means for you. But it's about being respectful, giving respect if you want respect. We talked about in that a couple videos back. So respecting your people is super important. That's a communication must. So all of these things is all about effective communication. And effective communication unifies you as a whole. You got to be able to be effectively communicating your vision, effectively communicating with your people. But when that happens, you're unifying your whole organization so that you can be one band, one sound.